India's lower order made quite a fist of it. You thought by the time India reached 445 that they had posted an imposing enough total. But what do we think about that after what we witnessed in the second half of the second day of this third test? England have wiped out nearly half of that first innings total in just 35 overs. It's down to a Ben Duckett special. 207 for two England finish in just 35 overs. Welcome to ESPN Cricinfo Match Day with Sanjay Manjrekar joining us from Rajkot. Sanjay, we must dive straight into the man of the day, Ben Duckett. Is that the most astonishing innings you've seen from a visiting batter in a long time?
And that's actually part of the whole thing that we see about England, how every batter is given the license to go out and express themselves, as they say. And if we get out, no problems. It's all condoned because they have adopted this tactic, and that's allowed certain batters to just uh, discover themselves. Now, I've learned about Ben Duckett that at the first class level, this is how he batted. But when he got an opportunity to play for England, he batted differently, typically defensive. He just got 18 runs in 3 innings. But this new template of England has allowed Ben Duckett to play a game that's natural, close to him. He's got some ability as well. So phenomenal. And this pitch was always going to be a difficult one for the Indian bowlers to control guys who are thinking just one way. So it's a pitch that just allowed Ben Duckett to express himself even more. And that was a fantastic innings. I just love the fact that, he was destined to reach 100, which would have been the fourth fastest test 100, but it took a little bit of time in the 90s. So phenomenal. Just all part of a larger picture of the way England are playing test cricket, really.
Yeah, it is a day when Bazball stood tall. Just focusing on Duckett, you mentioned some of the stats, and there are stats galore from this innings, among the fastest hundreds for any visiting batter in India. But what is truly stunning when you look at those numbers is that you typically associate an 88 ball 100 or an 89 ball 100 with an innings that could have some chances. But he got to that mark with a control percentage of about 85. By the point he got to the century, he didn't have a single run which had come off an edge. He just completely dominated pretty much every Indian bowler.
So this is the thing you've got to remember about Bazball is that this is not harakiri. This is not batters going out there and taking some serious chances and just throwing the bat around. And if it works, well, good. If it doesn't, maybe next time. So this is just allowing batters with some ability to try and dominate, but in a way that they feel comfortable. And you saw how he handled Kuldeep Yadav, the sweep shots that he played. Now, the old traditional, way of thinking would be, okay, I've got this fielder here. I'm going to hit one boundary and then I'm going to take it easy and pick up a single and not try too hard. He just went after Kuldeep Yadav because he saw that as an excellent opportunity. He had Ollie Pope playing that shot that he did when he was about 25, 30. Those shots, aren't shots that have no logic, or it's just somebody shutting their eyes and throwing their bat around. The way, Jadeja was bowling, he wasn't giving them too much room. He was finding it difficult to get him going, scoring runs of Jadeja. But because he has a flatter trajectory and bowls it straight, bowls it full, out came that shot. And when you see that shot, it makes cricketing sense. It doesn't make traditional cricketing sense. But when you just think about risk and, reward, I don't think there is high risk, but there's plenty of reward.
We must also talk about the opening combination as a whole because Ben Duckett and Zach Crawley have been doing things that you'd consider unimaginable for visiting openers in India. They have now four stands of 50 plus in 5 innings so far in this series, Sanjay, and that's as many as all the visiting openers had managed in tests in India over the last 5 years before this. These are just staggering returns for a place where it's generally quite wretched to be an opening batter as a visitor.
First things first, out of the three test matches that we've had this time, only the first match, Hyderabad, was one of those turners that we see over the years and the turner that foreign teams had regularly. In Vizag and now here in Rajkot, the pitches are much better. So that's one thing. The other thing is that they're just batters again, part of a system that allows them to play in that fashion. Their batters in form. Another important thing is that Bumrah, Siraj, any of the seamers, if you look at Bumrah's returns, we showed that in the broadcast today. When it comes to bowling to the openers, he's not been that successful. He's got them out only once, and the average is about 70, with the rest is just about six. So that is the time when Bumrah is most playable. So that allows them also to have some, settling in time, and there are better chances for them to be doing that at the top of the order. Now, Crawley and Ben Duckett, if they're batting at number 5 and 6, when the reverse swing and the spinners are slightly on top, it may not be that easy. So it's a combination of all that, plus the fact that they are two very good players and riding high on confidence.
Right, you brought up Bumrah, and I think it allows us to move towards India and their bowling plans and tactics and how they went about things in the face of this onslaught. Especially now that we bring up that Bumrah has not had the best of times against the openers with the new ball. You know that in Ashwin, you have someone who generally in home tests has been a fail-safe with the new ball for most of whatever India has played in the last few years. Not seeing Ashwin get the ball till the 12th over, how surprising was that?
I didn't understand that move, and as far as I'm concerned, I thought it was an error, a tactical error. Ashwin bowled the first ball when the score was already 72, and that's a lot. Whatever the reasons for it, I think amongst the spinners, of the three spinners and Akshar Patel included, Ashwin is the only guy who's found, I think, is starting to find a way to counter this new English approach of playing spin. He would have been my first choice spinner. I just couldn't understand Kuldeep Yadav coming at that stage. And Ashwin, when 72 runs were already on the board, and there was a fair bit of pace bowling, when you could see that the fast bowlers weren't really creating any impression at all. So these are the things that Rohit Sharma has got to be careful of. He's got to treat this opposition as very dangerous and must remain ruthless. Ashwin, coming after 72 runs were on the board, might come to haunt him. Maybe Jadeja as well, who came in almost when there were 100 runs on the board. So invested in pace a bit too much. He's got to be careful.
Yeah, 18 of the 35 overs India have bowled on day two have been bowled by the two seamers, Bumrah and Siraj. Not something you get to see quite often. As for Ashwin, when he did belatedly get the ball, it took him all of 7 deliveries to get to that milestone. Everyone's been waiting for. Only the second Indian to get to 500 Test wickets and the ninth in the 140 plus year history of Test cricket. As we celebrate this momentous milestone, Sanjay, what to you sets Ashwin apart? What made him this champion bowler that he's become?
Skills that he has. When you see him bat, you can see that he's really gifted as a cricketer. He comes from Tamil Nadu, which has had a culture of spin, and he's a product of that because they have a lot of gift with creating magic with their fingers. So that is what Ashwin is about. And like Anil Kumble, temperamentally as well, hungry for wickets. Anil Kumble as well, for a spinner, was as aggressive in his mindset and as attacking as a fast bowler would be. Ashwin is the same, and just wanting to bowl forever. We never talk about his accuracy. I mean, how often do you see Ashwin bowling a rank, loose delivery? We see Tom Hartley bowl one every over. It's we'll have to go through months before we see a rank bad ball from Ashwin. So all this combined just makes him beautiful, machine that gives us a lot of pleasure, and somebody guarantees wickets.
If I could ask you, what is your favorite Ashwin bowling performance in tests? It's probably not an easy one to pick given that there are only about 34 5 wicket hauls.
There was one moment when I was watching him, and we had done typically, as on the broadcast, showed the three variations that he was using. And suddenly, during the course of the match, this was Wankhede Stadium against England, and he bowled an actual top spinner like a Tausif Ahmed would, not like a Sakleen Mushtaq, which was like a Dusra or Murli. It was just like a top spinner. And in the post match, I asked him whether he actually bowled that one. I said, "Yeah, I've been working on that ball for a while, and it came out okay." And I was thinking, that's amazing. for somebody who already has all these variations to come and actually bowl an off spinner with the fingers, not the wrist and sort of slightly angular arm. It was proper top spinner. So that was amazing for me. The fact that on occasions he was underbowled by certain captains, but he didn't let that affect him. But off late, one of his finest bowling performance came in the last inning of the last test, where there was nothing for him in the pitch, and just the way he got class batters out. This was Ashwin replicating all those wonderful spinners that have come from Tamil Nadu by using the old-fashioned flight and guile, and that was great to see.
And it's not just 500 wickets. He also has a fair amount of runs. He added to that tally earlier on the second morning in Rajkot. And we can revisit that phase of play because when India lost Kuldeep and Jadeja early on, you could have feared an early end to the innings, Sanjay. But those last three wickets, dug in for 40 overs, added 114 runs to take India to 445. Runs and time that seemed a lot more invaluable before England had batted the way they did in the latter part of the day. But what did you make of that batting effort, how India dug in, and especially a word on Dhruv Jurel and his first outing?
It's something to be proud of, actually, and I may have tweeted about it. When you have these batters down the order who are not picked for the batting, back themselves up so much. I mean, look at Mohammad Siraj wearing all that protective gear because he wants to go out there and last long enough. Bumrah got out playing a bad shot, or rather, a big shot in the first test match, first inning. But after that, he just looked to dug in. Well, Dhruv Jurel is a batter, and I thought he batted really well. I just love the way for a young batter. He had some serious challenges with Jimmy Anderson to contend with first, and then the short ball tactic with that very unique feel that he would never have seen before in his life, and he sees that in the test match. So lots to like about the way he played. But overall, Ashwin also, despite his legendary almost status as a spinner, still wants to contribute with the bat. Just hangs in there, wants to take the fire every time. And Mohammad Siraj in his own cute way wanting to hang in. These are all excellent qualities, and that actually makes you a great side because those little things then cover up for some other little mistakes that you would make.
Right. So England do end the day 238 adrift of India's first innings total. This is a pitch that hasn't yet shown any signs of playing any big tricks. Caught Ashwin, in fact, on the broadcast while he was speaking to you, talking about how he doesn't expect the pitch to break down before, say, the final day. Does that mean, could we imagine that there are some serious concerns in the Indian camp at this moment, seeing the way England have batted and how they tend to bat on flat surfaces?
Actually, it's good news if the pitch doesn't crumble too much for India because maybe England gets a good score. Who knows? Let's assume that they bat really well, have a little bit of a lead on India. Then they have to really skittle India out, and the pitch will not allow them to do that. And when you look at it, England's weakness is the spin bowling. And I think as the series goes on, more and more Tom Hartley will find it difficult to create the impression that he's done so far. Rayan Ahmed, the same, Bashir is not playing. But they'll find it tough to contain the Indian batters, although India have a very inexperienced batting lineup. They felt the pressure in the first test match when there was a target to chase. But this time around, the pitch is a little more manageable. So the threat would be mostly from Mark Wood with his short balls and all those very kind of almost weird tactics that you see, which have a lot of sense though, which India will have to contend with. But that the pitch is still good for batting, gives India the chance to put on another good score in the second inning when they bat.
Right. We will leave it at that. Look forward to your insights after day three in Rajkot, Sanjay. Moving day, which once again will not be the final day.
No, and it won't be the moving day as well. I think the fourth or the fifth day could be finally the moving day.
All right. Thank you for your time, Sanjay.